I began as a series of edges, a zero traced into a margin of emptiness, a vacant space, a flexible zero. I began as nothingness, which is to say that I began as everything, a widening edge of becoming. I began without a place, meaning I began not at the beginning, but at the interruption, caesura, which is to say I was a zero pulled along the spine of earth by fate, illegal energy, pure friction, motion without gesture, sound without voice, image without subject, substance without form. As I traveled, I became the silver gleaming outline of pure electricity, a blinding thread of motion sharpened by confounding silence. And at the cue, I spoke, collapsing into amplitude, a great big cry into the night. Was it a dream? A tiny zero set back into motion by the nervous impulse of dead space, invisible ink collapsing into resonance, vibrating upon the blurred edges of ceasing and becoming. The zero with no edges, longing for a place to land, a backbone, a heart, a body. My heart, a vacancy within my chest, an odd place for a zero to be landing as a something, the something that was missing, density, accumulation, love. A heart is a ticking clock counting back to zero, the final click at the center, the click between a dream and the morning bleeding into it, my eyes phasing open to the light and to a new weight where my heart had been, as if overnight I dreamt myself into a stone fruit with a hard pit at its core. When kicked, the mind is a sniffing bloodhound in pursuit of reason. Because I made eyes at you, because I looked at you with eyes too lucid, because yours are impossible, because they are unreachable lakes, which is an extravagant thing to say, because the blue of veins is the real extravagance, and the red of my own heart's invisible unless I put it on a page or in a sound. Because like a sound, it is a measurement of time, and it depends on time and depth. Because it's a knob that only turns to the right, but how far does the knob turn till it breaks? Because I wanted to know, so I turned the knobs as far to the right as possible, and now it's in the red, but I won't turn it back because I want to hear your voice. Because your name began as something I read, and then it fell out of your mouth. And the first time it fell out of my mouth, it had an aftertaste of licking May honey from where it spilled over the jar's edge. Because the sound of what I meant to say echoes in the well of my closed mouth day after day. And maybe I swallowed it, or my heart swallowed you. Is that why it's so heavy? Is it because what was left unsaid is always the loudest? Is it because what was left unsaid is a novel longer than war and peace? No, is longer than remembrance of things past. And there are too many syllables, too many decibels, so many decibels that it's in the red, the loudest scene of the dream, louder than the sky with nothing but stars in it, louder than the full moon on sleeping faces in the night. But you are the loudest. You are in the red of my bloody heart. Because I didn't know where else to put you. I needed to put you where I could find you, because the world is big and things get lost. And the atmosphere is wide and gilded with floating trash. And like the moon, it could all crash into me, and you would die here where I've trapped you, tethered for the rest of eternity. But I promise, the moon won't crash into us, because the moon is falling toward us all the time, and the moon has terrible aim, so she keeps missing. Because whether her wish is to be touched or obliterated, I can't be sure. Because the failed falling is theatrical hesitation. Because distance is more enduring than possession, and to fall means to crash, means to land, means to belong to death. Because Orpheus turned back to look at Eurydice and lost her for the second time, and the moon learned her lesson. So the moon chose a place just far enough, but not too far. Because the stars are far, and no longer mysterious, and no longer missing. What else am I to do but to release you? Because the world is big and things get lost. Because love is a heavy, heavy stone cast back into the water and set back into motion. Love, the widening edge of ripples reaching outward from the center of its landing. The atmosphere is wide and gilded with ever-blinking timepieces, far from zero. Giant hearts of time and depth, time and depth, gas and dust, zeros, edges, creasing, unfolding.